Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 65th Annual National Lacrosse Hall of Fame Induction Celebration. 65 years. We are honored to have you here tonight as USA Lacrosse welcomes into elite company 8 great lacrosse players, coaches, officials, and contributors as the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame Class of 2024. We would like to thank our partners and the Atlas Group for their support of tonight's event, which is now streaming live on Go Live Sports. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the CEO of USA Lacrosse, Mark Riccio.
What a night. So on behalf of USA Lacrosse, the USA Lacrosse Board of Directors, the USA Lacrosse Foundation, I welcome you all to tonight's events, and most importantly, a thorough and hearty congratulations to all of tonight's honorees. At USA Lacrosse, our mission is 3 objectives, 11 words: fuel the growth, enrich the experience, and field the best national teams. And these honorees represent that in every single way. But in addition to providing a welcome tonight, my job here is also to give you a quick snapshot over the year that was and the year that lies ahead. And so under those mission banners, the year that was, we have more elementary age kids playing lacrosse than we've ever had in the history of our sport. Under the experience banner, we have more coaches certified and engaged in teaching the game than we've ever had in our sport. And on the official side, we've reversed the downward trend of less officials in the game and got us moving back in the right direction by adding more officials this year into the game than the previous year. So congratulations on that. On the national team front, USA Lacrosse is ranked number 1 or 2 in World Lacrosse rankings in all of the disciplines of lacrosse in field, box, and sixes. And believe it or not, that's the first time in our history that's ever happened. It's really an unprecedented moment in the national team system. This past year, our women's under 20 team won gold in Hong Kong in an absolute dominating performance. Our men's team won silver at the Box World Championships, their best finish ever. And our women's box team won gold in the very first World Lacrosse Women's Box Championships. Team won. Congratulations. And as Paris 2024 comes to a completion, that now begins the 4-year road to LA 28. Where lacrosse, for the first time, will host men and women in the Olympic Games. The predecessor organization for USA Lacrosse, the Lacrosse Foundation, started in June 1, 1959. And here we are, 65 plus years later. That mission is still going strong. But we can't and haven't and will not be able to do it without all of you. And most importantly, we have not and cannot and will not be able to do it moving forward without our honorees. We are thrilled to honor them, to cheer them, and we look forward to working with them in the many years to come. So congratulations and enjoy the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We will now have a Native American blessing and honor song performed by Lance Fisher from the Northern Cheyenne Nation and Giovanna Gross from the Oglala Lakota Nation. Please welcome them to the stage as they sing to keep their indigenous languages alive, to inspire the youth, and to celebrate life.
Hamatakepi, Chante Washtea, Chep Napijuza Pikstel, Giovanna Gross, Hemachapi, Oglala Lakotana, Peruvian Hemacha. So I said, hello, my relatives. I shake your hand with a good heart. My name is Giovanna Gross, and I'm Oglala Lakota in Northern Peruvian. Here you go.
Epivadoth, Lance Fisher, Nahashave. Good evening. My name is Lance Fisher from the Northern Cheyenne Tribe of Montana. My Cheyenne name translates to medicine bearer. Very thankful for the opportunity to open this event with a traditional prayer and blessing. Although we're not from the 6 nations that make up the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, or also known as the people of the Longhouse, we do share a reverence for the spiritual gifts from the Creator. Lacrosse is a medicine game, and is also known as a spiritual gift from the Creator. Giovanna and I have been gifted with the gift of prayer through song. The song we'd like to share with you tonight is a song composed by Mish Connolly of the Narragansett tribe. The translation is to seek peace within the outside world and also to seek inner peace. Again, we're very grateful for this opportunity to open this ceremony in a prayerful manner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Lance Fisher and Giovanna Gross. And with your blessing, we will now begin the induction ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage now our special guest host of tonight's celebration. From the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame class of 2021 and as seen on ESPN, CBS Sports Network, and the Big Ten Network, Sheehan Stanwyck Birch.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shan Sandwick Birch, thrilled to be here with you all. Great talking to many of you before. We've got such an excellent class. On behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of USA Lacrosse, I would like to welcome you to the Class of 2024 National Lacrosse Hall of Fame Induction Celebration. I am honored to celebrate with you the induction of 8 great lacrosse players, coaches, officials, contributors to the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. To begin, please join me in welcoming the other current Hall of Fame members who are here tonight. Hall of Famers, please stand at your seat when your name is called. And if able, please remain standing until all are recognized. Kelly Imani Hiller, class of 2012. Bethany Barnhill, class of 2006. Lynn Burns Bowers, class of 2023. Roy Condon, class of 2020. Dee Cross, class of 1999. Rachel DeCecco, class of 2019. Betsy Doherty, class of 2000. Kathleen Geiger, class of 2001. Mark Greenberg, class of 1998. Kyle Harrison, class of 2023. Laura Hebert, class of 2023. Barb Jordan, class of 2004. Michelle Lefevre Doyle, class of 2016. Erica Leslie, class of 2020. Skip Lickfist, class of 1993. Kevin Lowe, class of 2009. Jen O'Donnell, class of 2009. Laurette Payette, class of 2017. David Petramala, class of 2004. Kyle Sweeney, class of 2023. And Denise Westcott, class of 2018. It's an honor to have you all here this evening. Let's have a big round of applause for our Hall of Famers, and you now may be seated. And now, let's welcome the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame's class of 2024. Please stand at your seat as your name is called. Carol Daly Cantelli. John Grant Jr. Christian Shellman Marshall. Brody Merrill. Patty Kletcha Porter. Paul Rabel. Betsy Mang Ramsey. And posthumously, Vin Labello. Keep the applause coming for one more round for this 2024 class of the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame class. You can be seated. Well deserved. Now, before we officially begin, I would like to remind everyone that leaving the room during the ceremony should only be done between and not during presentations if possible. On behalf of USA Lacrosse, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our current men's and women's Hall of Fame task force, led by Hall of Famers Vinny Sombrado and Pat Dillon, and their respective members for the important and challenging tasks they take on each year in reviewing and selecting the incoming class. Please join me in recognizing these outstanding individuals and the leadership and integrity that they have brought to our sport's greatest honor. And now it's time to officially begin the induction ceremony. We'd like to begin with recognition of the Hall of Fame members who have passed away in the last year, followed by a video tribute to this year's honorees.
USA Lacrosse proudly presents the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame induction ceremony, celebrating the addition of 8 outstanding inductees who tonight take their place among the all-time greats. Since 1957, the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame has honored men and women, past and present, who by their deeds as players, coaches, officials, and contributors, and by the example of their lives, personify the great contribution of the game of lacrosse to our way of life. Presenting tonight's Class of 2024 National Lacrosse Hall of Fame inductees. A 4-time Collegiate All-American, 2-time Tewaaraton Award winner, and a member of the 2009 U.S. Women's World Cup Championship team, Kristen Chelman-Marshall is being inducted as a truly great player.
This sport has transformed and changed my life. I have so many amazing relationships and friendships, and just the people I've met, the jobs I've gotten, everything just seems to be attributed to lacrosse.
A 2-time Collegiate All-American and National Player of the Year, 4-time professional MVP in the MLL and NLL, and 3-time All-World player for Team Canada, John Grant Jr. is being inducted as a truly great player.
I was afraid that I didn't know how to do anything else. I really didn't. Since I can remember, that's all I knew what to do, knew how to do. And the thought of not being able to play scared me to the point where I did everything I possibly could and tried to keep reinventing myself on the field to be able to keep playing.
A 3-time national champion and 2-time National Coach of the Year with a career winning percentage of over 72%, Betsy Mang Ramsey is being inducted as a truly great coach.
It was a short run. It was a sweet run. Anita, my assistant coach, and I were, it was just 6 years, but in those 6 years, we made it to the national tournament every season, 3 national championships, 2 times we were runner-up. And I think both those games we only lost by 1 goal, and then we also had a semifinal appearance. Yeah, it is fun to win.
Serving the sport with over 3 decades of service as the chief referee for New England, while also officiating many of the top men's collegiate games nationwide, Vin Labello is being inducted posthumously as a truly great official.
He started to recruit because as more teams picked up the game in New England, they needed more officials, and he did all the training, taught them the rules, the techniques, the mechanics. He always stressed professionalism. He wanted to look sharp, press jersey, pull the socks up properly. He always used to say, I don't want to have you going out there look like a rag picker.
A 3-time national champion and 4-time National Coach of the Year, who retired in 2022 as the 2nd all-time winningest coach in Division III history, Carol Cantelli is being inducted as a truly great coach.
I loved the preparation and the start and the anticipation of a season, the energy around the beginning of something. I loved seeing when a defensive unit or the offensive units are working in sync and you can see that their light bulb has gone on, shining bright.
A 2-time Collegiate All-American, National Defenseman of the Year, 3-time All-World player, and a 19-time Professional All-Star, Brody Merrill is being inducted as a truly great player.
It really is a special game, and I found that over time and experience would reinforce that. The game will always reward you if you honor the game. right? If you respect the game, if you play the game the right way, it's a tough game. It's a team game, I think, at its core, right? And I think if you're honoring the roots of the game, it can be amazing where the game can take you.
A national leader among women's officials, including service in 33 NCAA championship and semifinal games, as well as 6 World Cup championships, Patty Kletcha-Porter is being inducted as a truly great official.
Watching what these athletes can do now is just incredible. I just love watching the beauty of it, but also with the sport, for me, umpiring, I'm just really always been in my thought process of making sure it's a safe game and it's fairly played. And that is my ultimate goal every time I step on the field.
A 4-time collegiate All-American, 2-time national champion, 2-time All-World selectee for Team USA, and the all-time scoring leader in professional field lacrosse history, Paul Rabel is being inducted as a truly great player.
So if you get to like an international stage where you're playing for a gold medal, there's something bigger at play. And you can feel that. I was fortunate to be a part of 2 American teams that won gold and then 1 American team that won silver. And that game in Denver, Colorado just felt like, just all the oxygen was sucked out of the stadium. And I know that when we won the other 2, it felt the same way for them. So it's indescribable, but the greatest experience of my lacrosse career.
Congratulations to tonight's Class of 2024 National Lacrosse Hall of Fame inductees.
Our first inductee this evening, Kristen Chelman Marshall, is being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great player by her college coach, Kelly Amani Hiller. Please turn your attention to the screens.
Kristen Chelman first made an impression on me. I had a camp at Milton Academy in Massachusetts. She was competing hard, believing in herself, just a hard charging competitor. And I said to myself, we have to get this girl. We literally have to get her. She just became a great leader right from minute 1. Her lead by example was always present every second of her time at Northwestern. She was very, very willing to, do whatever it took to be successful. Extra shooting, working with her teammates. She had an incredible personality, still does. She's very funny, very quirky, loves to have a good time. So I think the combination of that competitiveness with what she was able to do with her personality and how she connected with her teammates really made her special. She became a very, very, very efficient shooter. It was to the point where we knew if we got the ball to her, we had a very high likelihood we were going to score. So then the challenge became, how do we get the ball to her? And so she dove into that. She became extremely deceptive with her cutting and her ability to get herself open. And, I think the best thing about Kristen is if there was a setback, that drove her more. That drove her more to be better, to want to work more, to want to, inspire others, to want to make more connections with her teammates, to have more fun with the game. And, she really just trusted, and that's what I reemphasize with her, is just trust that when the opportunity is there, and the timing is right, it will come. And it did. And then, she became obviously a superstar on the USA team. Kristen did garner a lot of attention, winning 3 championships in a row in college and then going on to be the face of USA Lacrosse. It takes the right person to be able to handle that with poise and to understand the gravity of that and how important it is for her to carry herself in a way that will inspire more generations of young girls. Kristen is definitely one of the best ever to play the game of lacrosse. Her commitment, her personality,
how she carries herself, her pride in the game. There is absolutely nobody more deserving than Kristen Shellman of this award. Kristen Shellman, congratulations on this incredible honor. I feel so lucky and blessed to have you in my life and to see you grow each and every day. And I just thank you for what you've done for the game of women's lacrosse and lacrosse in general. And just so happy for you and your family. There's nobody more deserving. Go Chell.
Thank you, USA Lacrosse, for this honor. It's amazing that something I genuinely loved doing would bring me here. I'm humbled to be a part of this incredible group of inductees. I'm also happy to go first and not follow up to Brody and Paul in their masterful speech-giving ways. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the USA Lacrosse organization in some way for many years, and it's incredible to see the transformational progress that Mark and team have made. I'm sure my sentiments are shared with the other inductees that this sport and its fulfillment for me has been all about the people. Firstly, my teammates. It's tough for a program to be successful without healthy competitiveness. This goes both for my time at Northwestern and Team USA. My teammates pushed me and allowed me to push them. On the field, we were scrappy and relentless, but because we acted together and shared the same vision, this type of play was welcomed. I don't remember a time when Lindsay Finicero or Annie Elliott went easy on me defensively, or a time Allie Josephs and Lindsay Monday didn't combine for 15 goals in a 5-minute drill. We pushed each other to be better, but supported each other no matter what. You can have a full squad of great kids and players, but if you don't have next-level coaches to bring everyone together and guide you on the right path, their journey just doesn't quite go right. From my experiences, the journey was always hard, and that's what made it so rewarding. At Northwestern, Kelly and Scott were unwavering in their pursuit of excellence and their commitment to make us better every day. They pushed and elevated my game quickly and my self-confidence. I came in without a left hand and without any real understanding of my potential. They invested in our teams, and they invested in me. And my career and the trajectory of my life wouldn't be the same without them. Next, I'd like to thank the sport of softball for being extremely boring for my parents to watch, and therefore encouraging me to pick up the sport of lacrosse. My family has been a constant source of motivation and support. My parents have always been hard workers and goal-oriented, and I'm lucky that some of that rubbed off on me. One of the most special parts of tonight is that my 3 daughters, Ella, Mila, and Blakely, and my nieces are here. And this may give my husband, Matt, a sliver more of credibility that I actually was fast. I'm also grateful for the relationships that I've developed with my continued involvement in the sport. Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire has been a special place where I've been able to stay competitive through coaching and development of players. I met Lindsay Biles, who came down tonight from Boston while we were finalists for the Tuaratin Award, and we've become lifelong friends. Really, the only unfortunate thing about my playing years was the timing around the evolution of the women's goggle, if you didn't see. When the recognition was made in the fall, I've never received so many comments about the goggles we had to wear, my teammates and I were forced to wear, so I'm glad we've turned a corner there. Playing for the U.S. national team was a dream come true. I remember getting chills when I first received that call that I made the World Cup team. Seeing the growth of the sport over the last decade has been remarkable and makes me proud to have been a part of the building blocks for a sport that has been working its way into the mainstream spotlight. When I was a kid, my idols were athletes from other sports. I'm thrilled that my daughters will be able to grow up with greater access to the sport, and hopefully they and other girls name lacrosse players as their idols first. Many thanks for listening and for your support.
Congratulations, Christian. So well deserved. Let's give her one more big round of applause. The next inductee is John Grant Jr., being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great player by his college coach and mentor, Andy Shea.
I had heard about him from other recruits that we had, and he was just kind of this folk hero up in Ontario, and decided to call him and see if we could offer him an opportunity to go to college down in the States. And I remember his first game, he didn't have cleats, and it was, you know, there was not as many turf fields back then. It was ankle deep mud, and he was wearing basketball sneakers, and he still had 13 points in that first game. We just kind of gave the ball to him and turned him loose. I think he broke the all-time scoring record at that 2-year school in 6 games, which was kind of interesting. There was a few times that first year where he would hit guys in the face mask with passes. You know, they couldn't know they were coming, and he'd throw behind the back or whatever. He's one of the few people I've ever seen in college lacrosse that could feed from the end line. So if he was back there and somebody was open, he could get the ball to him with enough pepper that it actually got there and was an assist. You know, he was the best feeder, the best shooter, the best finisher. You couldn't cover him with one guy. Just a great teammate, great, you know, like I said, great at everything. One of the most, if not the most creative player I've ever seen. The things that we saw in practice and the things that we saw in some games that weren't even filmed, in my head, I'm just like, I can't believe that we're the only ones that saw that there's no film of it, unfortunately. Really incredible stuff. You know, he's the best player I've ever coached, and one of the best, maybe the best I've ever seen, probably the best I've ever seen, certainly in person. So I don't know if there's been many like him, or I'll ever coach another one like him. He's provided more for me coaching-wise than really anybody. I mean, I was a defenseman. What I know about shooting is from watching him and kind of breaking down what he's done. I've certainly gotten way more out of the relationship than he has, that's for sure. I think he's one of the brightest lacrosse minds that I've ever met. He's got a photographic memory, especially when it comes to the game. I've always found that fascinating, that he remembers certain moments, certain practices, and certain things that happen all of his time that we've been together. John, I'm just so proud to be here in this moment, and think you've deserved this for a very long time. And I can't believe that I've had a front row seat to the career that you've had, and you've been an amazing influence on my career. Probably done more for me than I'll have ever even attempted to do for you. But I'm just very proud of you, and I love you, and I'm excited that you are immortalized in the Hall.
Well, thank you for that. Last time I was this nervous, I think it was before the SATs. Let's hope this goes a little bit better. Thank you, U.S. Lacrosse. Humbling and very surprising, since I literally had your emblem on a mirror and tried to beat you pretty much half of my life. And as Paul said, it kind of went back and forth, and I owe a lot to a lot of people, and we all do. Anyone up here today, or anyone that was mentioned before, wouldn't get here with all the people that are here celebrating us tonight, supporting us. It takes a community to put someone up here, not just on the field, behind the scenes. So thank you to everyone. Coach Shill's in my hands. I appreciate everything you did, especially your patience. When you get recruited and by the time you get to the school, half the team had graduated. It's a little probably uncomfortable, but Shea and Coach Shills definitely believed in me, and I had no idea what I was doing. So they kind of coached me along, and I just remember being behind the goal and then going to the net when they gave it to me. It worked out more often than not, right, Coach Warren? But I owe a lot to them. Probably the biggest achievement of my life was getting a degree, and that was because of him. Yeah, Coach Shea called me, and we got to Morrisville. I still don't even know where that is. It was cold, it was January. Some young guy walked up to me and my dad goes, "Some player's here to meet you." I said, "No, I think that's Coach." Believe it or not, I think we're close to the same age, but he waited, and I know it was probably hard for him as I was trying to figure life out, finally getting to Delaware, but I'm glad I did. To the fellow inductees, I feel very honored and privileged to be part of this class. I know Chris and I was explaining to my 14-year-old about your accolades. I'm like, she's got more Tewarton and championships than me, Brody, and Paul combined, so that's pretty awesome. To all the coaches, I am one of those. It's a very tough job and a very fulfilling one, and just to hear that's something pretty aspirational. I'd love to win one game this fall or spring, so we'll see. And the referees, it's a miserable job. I did it at 13 years old in a hot, sweaty box arena in Canada, and people were trying to fight me all the time. It was so. Congrats to everybody. To Paul, remember in England, gold medal game, swept over the top right-handed, stuck what would be a two-pointer, like in a tiny little spot in the late. Great Chris Sanderson goes, "Just make him go left." And sure enough, he went left and did the same thing. I just sat at the other end next to Nadlin and going, "Oh, wow, that is not easy." What you've done in your career and how hard you had to work to do that while building your off the field, that to me is crazy, because I could barely get to the rink and play, let alone build an empire. What you're doing with the league and growing the game is special as a fan. Keep it up. That's awesome. And then Brody, we've gone a long way. Me and him have been teammates on multiple teams, and we've been opponents other times. I like playing with him better than being against him, because he threatened to beat me up every game. And I probably deserved it, but yeah, I mean, he's playing in a league with the defensive award named after him. I mean, how do you get that? Like, that's GOAT stuff right there. Yeah, we go way back. So it's an honor and a privilege to come up here with you. And he texted me yesterday. He goes, "Do we feel like we're kind of like in the wrong place?" And I said, "Yeah, it kind of feels like that." I hope I didn't take too long, but how do you talk about 300 years playing? Journey into madness is all I can really think about. It's 7 hours from Tennessee, talking to my wife while Gabby had her earpods in. What she had to go through for that time is crazy. Injury, near death, move Peterborough, Rochester, Colorado, Baltimore, and, well, Tennessee. Takes a really strong person to put up with someone that literally was obsessed with the game of lacrosse. And it's not even I don't even think I could even put it into words, like how addicted I was to playing. Always had a tough fall, kind of called it my off-season affective disorder. I couldn't truly be at peace unless I was playing the game, and I don't know why that happened, but if there's still an opportunity, Paul, I'd take it up. But yeah, I just love this game, and there was nothing else I'd rather be doing. I'm very fortunate that I got to do it, and never thought about accolades or anything else. I just wanted to play. And it wouldn't even have really happened. Coach Shea at Delaware, I had a bit of a falling out with junior college. I didn't really like field lacrosse. It was kind of a hobby. I didn't know what I was doing. So I went home, tried to play college hockey. That didn't work because I skated slower than I ran. And then I got a tryout to the Buffalo Bandits. On my way, I detoured and went to go visit my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, at college for Oktoberfest. And things happened. I woke up a little bit late, drove an hour and a half the wrong direction, stopped at a Wendy's, called the band and said, I can't make it. My car broke down. They're like, it's fine, you make the team. I get a call, I think it's Monday, but from Coach Shea, he's like, you didn't go to tryouts, did you? Because you're not going to be able to play college. I said, no, it turns out I changed my mind. I don't really want to do it. So I put that aside, went to Delaware, and I ended up getting drafted later. But, you know, without that kind of happening, or my wife saying, if you don't get a degree, I'm not going to date you anymore. Like, who plays pro lacrosse? Like, that's not a job. So I owe everything to her. And then Gabby got half of my career, and then I came out of retirement for her and had her join me on the Jumbotron, on boats in Annapolis, like to try to give her kind of a small piece of what it was, where I actually had them join me in the journey. So I owe everything to everyone in this room, and thank you to everyone else.
One more big hand for John Grant Jr. Betsy Mang Ramsey is being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great coach by her former player, Devin Murphy.
She just had trust in her players. She let us do what we could do on the field. We joke with her a lot that we never really ran plays or that kind of thing because of that trust factor that she had in us. So that was the reason we were so successful. We had the talent, and she knew that. So it wasn't a hardcore practice session, warm-up session or anything. She just basically said, go out and be you guys. Go be you. I have trust in you. I have faith in you, and go win. And my freshman year, when we had, I think it was 6 Division I schools on our schedule, we beat them. We were good. So, you know, I don't know what else to say except that she had trust in us to play the game we knew how to play. There were players that had never picked up a stick before they got to Ursinus and decided to come out for the team. And they were like, wow, that player has some special skill sets, and put them in positions for us to win. And it just worked. It just was magic. We won, at least many of us won 3 national championships of the 4 years we were there. That's unheard of. When I tell people that, we're like, wow, that's amazing. And then when we graduated, many of us, she then went on to win another championship in 1989. So she knew what she was doing. In practicing, we would do this thing called the star drill. We had to complete 100 passes in a row, or else we weren't allowed to go to dinner. And believe me, the underclassmen were pretty fearful of Betsy at that point, and the upperclassmen knew that it was not a joke, but you know, she was trying to get the best out of us. Betsy stepped into a role where I liken it to be the house that Marge built, referring to Marge Watson, who was in the U.S. Hall of Fame. And Marge had an enormous career at Ursinus. And Betsy stepped right in without any qualms about taking over that role. And look what she did in her years there. She was the perfect candidate to take over that role. And I'm so grateful, so very grateful, as many of us are. All she knew how to do was win. She was first in everything she did. We won first my freshman year, my sophomore year, my senior year. You know, she just knew how to win. She was a winner in everything. We had this relationship, should I say, that she wasn't really your coach. She was more your friend. We laughed a lot. And, you know, when you're winning, laughter becomes a lot easier, right? It was just the nature of the beast. I mean, she was our friend and she was our coach, and that's really hard to do from somebody who, you know, you're supposed to not have that kind of relationship with, right? But we did, we all did, and we still do 40 years later. Betsy, I'm so proud of you. Getting a great education at Ursinus and playing lacrosse for you, winning 3 national championships is the reason I wear this red, old, gold, and black very proudly. With your family behind you and your friends next to you, I'm glad to see that you have found your corner of the sky.
Wow, thank you, Devin. What an honor to be standing here tonight among so many amazing people. It's very humbling to be sharing the stage with my fellow inductees and to join the ranks with the 10 Ursinus women who have preceded me. When I reflect on my lacrosse career, I am filled with gratitude for those who supported me on this journey, especially all my Ursinus friends. I wouldn't be here without you. It all started with fellow Hall of Fame member and Ursinus alumni Marge Watson. Marge was my teacher and coach at the Kimberton Waldorf School. I remember standing out in the fields at the beginning of my freshman year, surrounded by much bigger and older girls. Marge directed us, "If you want to play varsity, step to the right." Many of the juniors and seniors stepped to the right. I didn't move. "Mang, get over there," she directed me, and I did as I was told. I went on to make the varsity team as a freshman and to develop an identity and a confidence that would carry me where I am today. In the summer, Marge encouraged me to attend camps where the U.S. team was practicing, inspiring my belief in what could be possible for myself. I went on to play lacrosse at Ursinus College and again had the opportunity to be coached by Marge and to try out for and be selected for the U.S. team that I had been inspired by in high school. After college, I had yet another Ursinus alumni and Hall of Fame member, Feffy Barnhill, to thank for helping me launch my coaching career. Feffy offered me my first job teaching and coaching at the St. Catherine's School in Richmond, Virginia. From here, 5 years after graduating, I would return to Ursinus to begin my college coaching career. Per Marge's recommendation, I chose Anita Deasy, yet another Ursinus alumni, to be my assistant coach. And this could not have been a better choice. With Anita's knowledge and intuitive sense of the game, plus talented, hardworking athletes, we were able to carry on the winner's mindset that Marge had instilled in the Ursinus program. We believed that national championships were not only attainable, but expected. The rest is history. 3 national championships in 6 years, and a lifetime of friendships and memories. Stepping down from coaching at Ursinus and returning to high school teaching and coaching was a difficult decision, but the right one for my growing family. By 1986, I had a 4-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son running around the Ursinus campus during practice, banging on the vending machines to see if free sodas would fall out, climbing on the Ursinus bear in front of the gymnasium, and one time even jumping into the pool during a swim practice, prompting yet another meeting with the athletic director. When I made this transition to the Agnes Irwin School, it was again an Ursinus alum, Jane White, who offered me a teaching and coaching position. Jane demonstrated an admirable balance of discipline and fun with the students that I tried to emulate in my own teaching and coaching career over the next 20 years. Upon retiring from the Agnes Irwin School, I wasn't ready to step away from lacrosse and had yet another Ursinus alumni and Hall of Fame member, Judy Wolstenholme, who encouraged my start in the officiating world. Her simple words, which served me well, were, "Let them play and keep it safe." My lacrosse journey is never ending, and I look forward to seeing where it takes me next. For now, it is continued as a co-founder of the DC Memorial Cup, awarded annually to the winner of the Ursinus versus Swarthmore game, two teams dear to Anita. We take this day each year, uniting players, coaches, friends, and family to remember Anita and to commemorate her passion and love of the game. This honor tonight is not mine alone, and I would never have come about without the support of my Ursinus community and my family. I want to end by thanking the people sitting here tonight who have made this journey possible and worthwhile. Thank you to Devin Murphy, co-captain of our '86 championship team, for being my presenter. Thank you to my twin brother and his family. Thank you to my husband, Scott, of 46 years, also an Ursinus grad, who encouraged and listened and supported all my goals. Thank you to my son and daughter. And thank you to my Ursinus teammates and sorority sisters. And thank you to my Ursinus players, who are the real winners. Thank you.
Please join me in one last cheer for Betsy Mang Ramsey. The next inductee is Vin Labello, being presented posthumously into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great official by his fellow official and friend, Hall of Fame member Roy Condon.
Well, I really met Vin first in probably the spring of 1969 as a player for UMass. Whether he refereed a freshman game back in '68, I don't know. He refereed our games in '69, obviously, but he also came on a yearly basis to a team practice to go over new rules, anything that we needed to know on mechanics, as well as he was a guest lecturer at the university's intramural program. And so we had an intramural and officiating program that every year he would go in and do something on trying to recruit people into officiating in general or lacrosse in particular. Vin had a famous expression, that was used in New England an awful lot, that anybody can call the black and white. It's the true artist, the true referee that could take the gray area. And again, he was an artist. Take the gray, paint it black and white, and sell it. That's what he did. Taking the knowledge of the rules, mechanics, a communicator, and I think that's the persona that you want in all officials. Many times tonight, inductees will talk about that they didn't do it on their own, that it takes a village. Vin Labello was the village in New England. His job, again, in New England was to recruit throughout New England, and you're talking about vast geographical area, finding people in different geographical areas that he could delegate some authority and some training. After the USILA meeting, he would go to all the 6 states where we would probably have joint meetings, with officials and coaches, and go over new rules, new mechanics, new points of emphasis from USILA. And back in those days, things were changing, on a yearly basis. He was the assigner in New England. That was for all levels, high school, prep school, obviously collegiate. Again, going back to the chief referee, again, I think everything that I'm going to talk to is the commitment and the time. After he got through with all the new rules and everything, then he had to meet with the colleges, again, high schools, prep schools, and negotiate contracts. He was always on the big game, but to him, a big game could be the first home game of a new program. You know, he really wanted everything to go smoothly. He was a people person. You know, he went to those coaches, any new coaches, and he availed himself of his expertise and anything that they needed. In addition to the North-South game and the championship games, whatever game he was on was considered a big game. He could sell the idea of someone in Maine or Vermont, what a privilege it was to leave your house, drive for an hour and a half, work for 2 hours in the cold and in the rain, get back in your car and drive home for less money that you were getting in your original job, and what a privilege it was. And we all bought into that, and I think that was Vin.
Thank you. The Lobello family would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for honoring my dad for this prestigious award. The Hall of Fame was founded in 1957, and my dad's first game he officiated was 1953 at Amherst College. To Mark and USA Lacrosse, he would have been in awe of the great job you all have done in growing this sport all these years. Thank you, Roy, for your presentation. I know my dad was proud of you. Congratulations on all your accomplishments and your 2020 induction. Thank you to the event committee and all their hard work they put into organizing this event. Thank you to our family and friends that are here, came from all over the country. You all have told me that my dad has touched your heart and soul in so many ways. My dad, of course, would like to thank his wife, our mom, who will be watching this event tonight on her iPad up in Massachusetts, for all her love and her support. She just heard that. Thank you. Thank you. There were many happy tears when I told her, my wife Susie, and my sisters Chrissy and Mary of the exciting news. Congratulations to the other inductees. We all were able to meet up last night, and what a great group of people. I mean, an elite group of people. They're amazing. My dad would be humble, grateful, and appreciative of this honor tonight. He truly was a pioneer of New England lacrosse. Years ago, I found his travel bag. It had extra whistles, scorecards, and such, but the one thing that stood out to me was his black shoe polish for his cleats. Know the rules, stay ahead of the game, and always look professional. I know my dad up here tonight would spend the rest of his evening thanking all his fellow officials and all the coaches that helped him pave the way. He had a wonderful life because of the relationships that he had with so many great, great people. It was my dad's character that drew people together. He always told me, be the first to say hi. You may meet a new good friend. He had a great smile, a warm, sincere handshake. He was interested in you, your career, and your family. He always, always made you feel good about yourself. My dad connected with people in very special ways on and off the field. UMass All-American and All-World Brooks Sweet, 17 inductee here, said, your dad got me with a few slashes here and there, but I never had a ref walk by me leaving the field after and look up and say, nice game today, Brooks. That was gigantic to me. Another player told me not only did your dad make the right calls on me, he would politely explain to me exactly why he did. That was pretty cool. This story sums up my dad's character. He was a business manager and a coach at a Williston Academy prep school. And during lunch in the dining room, he had many choices on which table to sit at. He could sit with the dean of students, the athletic director, or the professors. but many times he chose to go over and sit down with the maintenance and grounds crew workers. He'd ask them how things were, talk about their kids. They would laugh and smile. He would tell them that the campus looked great and thank them for all lining all the ball fields so perfectly. He made those guys feel as important as the headmaster, and to him they were. That was my dad. I remember at home on Saturday nights, a college coach would call, complaining about an issue he had had with an official earlier that day. My dad would listen and assure the coach that he would address the matter. The conversations that we would have when he called those officials showed me what makes a good leader of men. He would give them constructive advice on how to better understand the rule and the field situation. But what I remember most was how he always ended the conversation on a positive note. They were all new to the sport, trying their best and wanting to get better. He told them that he had seen great improvements in their performance and that he appreciated all their hard work. They respected him, and that was how he formed and grew a dedicated and loyal organization. There are too many people to mention really tonight that were so special to him in his life, but one man I must is UMass lacrosse coach Dick Garber, 85 inductee in the Hall of Fame. Coach Garber began growing the UMass lacrosse program in the early 50s when my dad started officiating. Through their constant contact, they bonded right away and became the best of friends, not only because of their love of lacrosse, but also because they shared the same traits of integrity, honesty, and a strong belief in sportsmanship. At a coaches' convention once, Richie Moran was holding court around the bar, like only Richie could. I introduced myself to him, and I will never forget it. He stopped his story, grabbed my arm, and said, "Every time our Cornell bus crossed the New York line into Massachusetts, two people came right to mind, Dick Garber and your dad. I never ever heard anyone say but good things about them. They were clearly the most significant contributors to the early growth of lacrosse in New England." We all talk about the lacrosse fraternity. It really started back in those early days. I want to end with this quick story. My dad was supposed to ref the UMass Harvard game in Cambridge. But the night before, he called Coach Garber and told him that his car was broken and he would not be able to make it to Boston. Coach Garber said, "Well, if you can make it over to Amherst in the morning, you can ride on the bus with me and the team, because that's where we're headed." And that is exactly what happened. They sat next to each other, talking all the way, probably mostly about golf. My dad reffed the game and then jumped back on the bus and headed back to Amherst with them all. Win or lose, it didn't matter. That night, my mom and dad went out to dinner with him and Mrs. Garber. Paul Rabel saying, "Can you imagine that?" It was a different but special time. Building friendships, that was the most important thing to my dad. I wish my dad was standing up here tonight instead of me. I wish you all could have met him. You would have made a good friend. But there's one thing that our family and friends do not have to wish for anymore. We don't have to wish that someday possibly we might get a call from USA Lacrosse, because, Dad, that call came. And as of this moment, you are now and forever in the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
For your mom watching at home, a big hello, and let's give one more big round of applause for Vin Labello. Carol Daly Cantelli is being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great coach by her great friend and colleague, Barb Jordan.
So there's three things that really come to mind when I think about Carol as the coach. And honestly, they're not that much different from Carol the person because they're intertwined. But the three things really are, one is her passion for her family, her passion for the game, her passion for her athletes, her passion really for everything she does. She goes 110%. She just goes after it. The second thing is her desire to constantly learn and improve as a coach and to help the program become stronger, that she just tries to learn on a daily basis. And the third thing that really strikes me is how Carol coached with absolutely no ego. She really, everything was for the betterment of the program. Her passion comes from her family. They played a key role in her success as a coach. Her parents really instilled in her the importance of respect, hard work, fierceness, passion, compassion. They supported her throughout her 30 plus years as a head coach, every step of the way. She would do anything for her players. She believes in her players. They know that. So they always appreciated it. They wanted to live up to the standards that she set. She's the most passionate coach I've ever met. Winning was obviously important, but so was the process on the way to those wins and losses. So I think having fun was Carol's secret sauce, along with some music and dancing. I think she put that into every practice, every day. And she really approached each day and lived by one of her favorite mottos that she learned from her dad, which is today is the first day of the rest of your life. The foundation was always the same. It was always about, hard work and a team first attitude, but the way she approached each season was very different. She was always trying to improve. Every year, she would look for new technology that was available, new game strategies, new motivational techniques, new team bonding activities. She would talk to coaches from other sports, coaches from other programs. She would watch and analyze games from different divisions, read books, anything she could do to implement into the program, she was going to try and do to try to make the program better, try to make the team better. She just coached with no ego. It didn't matter who got the credit. All of her efforts and energy was for the betterment of the team and to aid her student athletes to become the best versions of themselves. 3 national championships, 13 conference titles, and those numbers are definitely part of her legacy, but those numbers are not her only legacy. And I think the numbers that are really important to her, the number of people that she's been able to impact and the influence she's had in a positive way on so many people in her life. She really genuinely cares about the game, her student athletes, her colleagues. She would tell her players every day, be difference makers on the field, in the classroom, in every aspect of their lives. And I just really hope that she understands, or will one day, the impact that she's had on so many people. Carol, it is my honor to be presenting you for induction into the U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame. It has been a pleasure to walk the sidelines with you for 20 years. So proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Thank you for all you've done for your players, for your family, for lacrosse. You're the best. We love you.
Good evening, everyone. Really, thank you, Barb. It was an honor to share the field with you for 20 years. What an incredible honor this is, and crazy, really, to be recognized for something that I love to do, that is truly a part of who I am, that's brought me so many meaningful relationships, my husband being one of them, and that has delivered a lifetime of passion and purpose. Thank you, Hall of Fame committee members, and thank you to all those who worked tirelessly to make this evening and weekend so very special. And scheduling this event tonight and not Sunday when the Eagles take the field, bonus, go Birds. I know you're out there. I accept this, and I know it's the wrong crowd. You've got a game. You're all looking at, what's the score, by the way, you Ravens fans? But I accept this induction deeply humbled and intensely proud. For the moment is not just a personal achievement, but a reflection of the many people and places who have shaped my journey along the way. Tonight, I wish to convey my sincere gratitude to the people and the places that have cemented my purpose that led to a very fulfilling career. The people. First and foremost, literally the hundreds of players I had the privilege of coaching. Each one left an indelible mark in my heart. The passion and commitment they brought to the field inspired me every day. They trusted me with their dreams, and together we achieved so much more than I could have imagined. From the big wins to the tough losses, it was an honor to stand by their side. It was their hard work, their willingness to fight for one another, and their comical antics that made every moment for me a joy. To all my former coaching colleagues, thank you for your support, guidance, and unwavering commitment to the game. It is through collaboration and the sharing of knowledge that we grow, not just coaches, but as individuals. I've learned so much from each of them, and I am proud of what we accomplished together. The camaraderie we shared has been a cornerstone of my coaching experience. To all the competitors and officials I faced on the field, thank you for pushing me to be my best. Every team I coached against was a lesson, a test of my abilities and my team's talents. You made us better. Every ref I faced, well, you taught me to keep my mouth shut. But seriously, this game cannot be played without them, and their respect for this game and its athletes is remarkable. And last but not least, to my family, thank you for your endless love and support. To my parents who never hesitated to support me, no matter where my playing and coaching career took me. To my siblings who took an active interest in me and my teams. And to my husband and children who always kept me grounded and reminded me of what really matters. Being able to share the sidelines with my husband, Mike, who served as Gettysburg's athletic team trainer for 30 plus years, how can you beat that, working side by side? It worked, actually. Hard to imagine. Their collective support was unwavering, and their belief in me made this journey possible. They continue to be my anchors. Places. I was blessed with the opportunity to coach at a remarkable institution for 30 years, surrounded by extraordinary student athletes and a community that embraced both competition and unity that made lacrosse at Gettysburg College so special. To the staff and administration at Gettysburg who supported our program, you were the foundation that kept everything running smoothly. To the athletic coaching staff, you all were pros, and the culture in the department made coming to work every day a pleasure. To be surrounded by driven and servant leaders was an ongoing classroom of learning for me. When I think about my career, I can't help but think about where I came from. Growing up in the 215, just outside of Philadelphia in Delaware County, affectionately known as Delco. I know there's some of you out there. It was where I was introduced to the game. I learned so much about competition and what it means to leave it all out on the field. It is in Delco where I established my many mentors who guided me both professionally and personally. So to all the Delco coaches, teammates, friends, and families, thank you for teaching me what it means to give 110% and for making me proud to be from that area. Lastly, purpose. Without those incredible people and the amazing places of Gettysburg and Delco, I would not have discovered my purpose, sharing my passion for this game, empowering women, and spreading joy. The game of lacrosse and coaching it has given me a purpose and a passion that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Here's to the game we love, to the players, coaches, umpires, and contributors who make it what it is, and to the spirit of competition that drives us all. Thank you.
Let's hear it one last time for Carol Daly Cantelli. The next inductee is Brody Merrill, being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great player by his friend and Georgetown teammate, Andrew Corno.
I think the first thing that comes to mind about Brody is humble. This is a guy that never let his successes and his accolades get to his head and continued to go to work every day to be the best that he could be. And it's just such an incredible thing to watch. And it's a very hard thing for a lot of people to be as humble as he is. Disciplined is another word that very much comes to mind. You know, he obviously was able to maintain an incredible level of play for an incredibly long period of time. That's a testament to the way in which, the way in which he took care of his body and the way in which he trained. Lacrosse demands a lot of that to be done on your own time. And his discipline was just undeniably incredible. Brody was always a leader. He wasn't necessarily the vocal leader early on in his career at Georgetown. But he was always very much a leader by just the way he went about his work, right? The way he went about practice, this work ethic, how fast he ran the 2 mile, being first in a million of different, competitive situations within practice and stuff like that. But anytime he opened his mouth, the whole team listened. Brody had an undeniable ability to encourage his teammates and friends. He instilled confidence not only because he was so good and we always felt like we could win a game if he was in there, but also instilled hot confidence and got the most out of the players he played with. His passion surrounding Team Canada was incredibly special, and continuing to play for his country. I can't tell you how many times we spoke about how important it was to prepare for the World Games and to give it one more go. The feeling that he had in completing that, getting to the top of that mountain was incredibly special. But he just ultimately loved the game and wanted to keep playing. And an extremely fierce competitor, and loved the sport, and that's why he played for so long. He really did love the indoor game. That's what he grew up with, and obviously, he really did work to extend his career in that department. To some extent, Brody had, kind of like two personalities. There was off the field Brody and on the field Brody, and then on the field Brody playing indoor was a whole different ball game compared to the outdoor game. A chippy player and not scared to get in anyone's face, but on the flip side, off the field couldn't have been a nicer guy. Speak softly and carry a big stick, because that's him, right? In a nutshell. The big stick representing obviously his strength as a player, and the soft part of that being his personality. And Brody, congratulations. We are incredibly honored to be here today and support you in this honor. You've reached the pinnacle of the sport, and there's no better man that's more deserving of this acknowledgement. Enjoy it, enjoy the time, and again, congratulations, you've earned it.
It's pretty special to be welcomed into the Hall of Fame from one of my best friends and a former teammate and roommate. And for those that don't know Andy's daughter, Cameron, who's 6 years old, is going through a courageous battle with brain cancer since March 2020 currently. And she just experienced her 8th operation, and to see both Andy and Stewie go through this all. And Andy was always known as the dad amongst our peer group, because he's always looking out for others and responsible. And I just want to say, you're the ultimate dad. You're a Hall of Fame dad. It means so much for you to be here tonight, and I draw so much inspiration from you, Stewie, and your amazing girl, Cameron, every day. Thank you to U.S. Lacrosse for this incredible honor. I'm humbled, and it feels surreal to be here. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, know your stories, and thank you for your contributions to this great game. Kristen, it feels like we kind of come full circle from the Torton ceremony till now. There's just a lot more kids involved. I think there's 6 between us all, but thank you for your example. As a father of a daughter that plays lacrosse, you set a great example. And for John, John, this is really special to go in with you. John's that celebrity that you meet that exceeds expectations for how nice he is, and for a young guy that I looked up to you, and to be so friendly, and we've gone through a lot of battles against each other, and to still be friends after all these years, and it's pretty special, and a unique talent. And one thing with John is you always seem to have tight hamstrings at the beginning of practice. And that was up until we had 4-on-3s, right? And then you can just sit on that wing and put our goalie into a pretzel. And but again, once in a lifetime type of talent, and watching you just shoot the ball and your skill was something amazing. And for to go through this with you, Paul, we kind of shared a lot of our professional lacrosse journey with and against each other, and you always set such a high bar. You're like an NFL tight end on the field that can shoot both ways. But what I remember the most is just your relentlessness, and you've taken that on to keep growing the game with the PLL to new heights. It's pretty amazing to see. Getting to this point for me, the story is unlikely. I am originally from Montreal, where there's not much, if any, lacrosse really being played, and I moved to a small town called Orangeville, Ontario, which is probably the only town in Ontario or Canada where lacrosse is here and hockey is here. And so all my hockey buddies encouraged me to play lacrosse, and I like to say that I picked it up right away. I didn't. It was a struggle for me for most of my youth playing the game, and it wasn't until kind of later in my teenage years where I started to hit my stride. And I was fortunate right at that time. I had a mentor come into my life who was the first player from Orangeville to go off to play high-level NCAA Division I lacrosse, and that was Chris Sanderson. And Chris took my best friend Kyle Miller and I kind of under his wing. And at that time in Canada, there weren't many long poles or goalies. So he gave me a long pole, and he told Kyle that, hey, you're going to play goalie. And we were all in. And we ended up making the U19 Canadian team that he was coaching. But the neat part of that is that 7 years later, we won a gold medal together with a men's national team in 2006, and getting to share a cold beer with Kyle and Chris, after that game was one of my best memories in the game. And Chris and Kyle unfortunately have since passed after long battles with cancer, but I share this honor with them today. And one of the One of the biggest gifts that Chris passed on, both to Kyle and I, was that he opened the door for us to go to the Salisbury School in Connecticut, and that was a life-changing experience for both Kyle and I. And so many people at Salisbury. I'd like to thank Brian Rogers, Matt Corkery, Donnie Shea, Josh Frechette, Peter Gilbert, Chiz Chandler, and many others. It was a stepping stone that I needed, and it helped open the door to get to Georgetown. And Georgetown was where I grew the most as a player and as a person, and it was, it was mainly because of the group of people that really brought the best out in me, and where I had a group of friends where we just all clicked. And so I want to thank Mike White, Rich DeAndre, Chaz Truns, Dave Palisso, Bryce Queener, Kevin Langtree, among others. And I also had the privilege to play behind Hall of Fame LSM Kyle Sweeney, who provided the blueprint for me to follow, and it was pretty amazing to watch him front and center every day, and I just tried to emulate what he was doing for what seemed like the rest of my career. I also had two amazing assistant coaches, Coach Rienzo and Coach Scotty Urick, that that felt like older brothers to me, and there were not typical coaches in that they didn't have this guard up. You can walk into their office at any time and provide so much great mentorship, and we continue to be friends today. And then obviously today, it's really kind of bittersweet for me to see even Coach Urick's name up on the screen before the ceremony, and to be celebrating this without Coach Urick, it is bittersweet. He represented the good in coaching, and as Andy and I talked a lot recently about perspective, he always had a way of finding that perspective through the ebbs and flow of a year, and so I was really privileged to play for him, and would not be here today without his belief in me and his support. And then throughout my professional career, there's too many to thank. I just want to recognize Dave Huntley, him and I had this really cool connection, and he's one of the handful of Canadians that are also in the U.S. Hall of Fame. And it was just, I hope that people can experience this coach-player kind of relationship. So I'm really thankful to Coach Huntley, and as well as John Level, Terry Sanderson, Derek Keenan, Mike French, Joe Tsai, and Rich Furlong. I want to thank my sister Tori, who I moved out of the house fairly early and kind of right during her teenage years. So we kind of circled back, and she was always in my corner and the most well-rounded person I know. And her and my brother-in-law Dre really supported me throughout my career and was always just felt like a support system for me. And my brother Patrick had the most impact on me and throughout my lacrosse career, to the countless hours of play in the backyard, to a teammate, to eventually as my coach and my favorite coach. So it was pretty special to be able to share that with him. Thank you to my parents, Peter and Patricia, for your unconditional support, and my mom and dad always reminded me it'll be all right. And finally, thanks to my wife, Alex. We celebrate the amazing aspects of the game, but there's also another side of it. And, after seasons or after tough games, having twins and having to travel, and I would not be here without you, and I'm so thankful for your love and support. And the coolest part of my lacrosse career came after my kids were just old enough to watch me play, and I started to kind of see the game through their eyes. And my goal is to pass on all the life lessons I've learned through this great game in my career to them and kind of the next generation of players coming up. And so I'll just leave you with this: every day's a holiday, every meal's a banquet.
One last big round of applause for Brody Merrill. The next inductee is Patty Kletcher-Porter, being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great official and contributor by our Wesleyan University colleague, Gail Lackey.
Patty and I were coaching colleagues at Wesleyan University. She was the head field hockey coach for over 30 years there, and she was my assistant coach in lacrosse. for 7 years. And then because of assignment changes, Patty was no longer able to assist me in lacrosse. So shortly after that, she took up lacrosse officiating to remain close to and attached to the sport that she loves. She's an amazing official, so she presents herself like with a high degree of professionalism. And she carries out the role with deliberate communication and like a no-nonsense approach to the game. She has good instincts and judgment when it comes to officiating lacrosse and as it applies to the advantages and disadvantages, you know, the intent of the rules. And I think coaches, players, and other fellow officials can sense she's enthusiastic and committed to doing a job that enhances the event, and because of her attention to detail and her decisive manner. And I think that's what makes a good official. Patty was a player and Patty was a coach, and so she's sensitive to those relationships. I think she just loves being close to the game. You know, she was a remarkable athlete and coach. She's fit, athletic, she moves efficiently, anticipates her positioning on the field of play, and I think she takes pride in doing a job well done. She's collaborative, she understands the value of teamwork. I'd say when she's working with an officiating crew, that's Patty's team for that day. She has a high degree of integrity in just about everything she does. You know, these are qualities she exudes in her life. This is who she is. And I think she carries it to all endeavors, including her officiating. You know, whether it was a high school conference playoff, an NCAA Final Four, or a World Cup medal round, I think she just approaches it the same way. She wants to do a great job. You know, she has confidence in what she does. She's worked really hard at it, so that serves her well. She was a tremendous contributor to the sport and to officiating ranks in terms of her service of training new officials. And she held many training sessions at Wesleyan, I know, and as well as other sites over the years. She was relentless when it came to recruiting new officials to the officiating ranks. And she would recruit our own student athletes to learn officiating. And she convinced them it was a great way to make some extra spending money. Some of them, I think, stayed with it at post-graduation. So I think her stewardship in this area of officiating is more than noteworthy, and I think she's a true educator. She served the sport well in this regard, and I and others, I think, have a great deal of respect for her tireless service in training new officials. So, you know, in terms of why she does it, I just think she sees it as a service. She served it well. Patty, I'm so happy you're receiving this Hall of Fame induction. This honor is so very well deserved. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Gail. That was just amazing. Thank you, U.S. Lacrosse, for this incredible honor and to be inducted with this amazing 2024 class. You're just outstanding. I have many thank yous to individuals who watched, cultivated, and supported me along this 40-year journey. It all started with my older sister, Tina, coming home from Ithaca College, playing lacrosse in her senior year, and I was entering as a freshman saying, "You have got to play the sport." So I did for 4 years, never knowing where it would take me. I have witnessed and been involved over the years wearing the striped uniform, seeing the explosion of females at the grassroots youth programs, the increasing high school and collegiate programs, the NCAA divisions of 1, 2, and 3, and the international game exploding and expanding to over 40 countries, and the movement of women in the professional league. Outstanding. All this would not be possible where I stand here today if it weren't for the dedication of others in my life. My presenter, Gail, colleague, coach, and friend, who taught me the characteristics of how to be a leader, the fine-tuning to be a role model, and to support, praise women's achievements in sport and all aspects of life. To my children, Nathan, Andrew, Logan, and in that order, present here today, traveling from 3 different states, I thank you for your patience and, yes, waiting for Mom to come home. I hope I have inspired you to believe in your gifts and talents and to pursue your passions, no matter how difficult or challenging it may be. A big thank you goes out to Scott, my husband, of 40 years, for being my #1 fan and giving me the freedom and support to grow and take umpiring to the highest level. In your own way, you have showed how proud you were of my achievements. You always asked, how was the game? Did you have fun? But most of all, I thank you for lending an ear as I discussed and reviewed every details of every game I reffed. I am so grateful to have umpired with several true pioneers of the umpiring community. Susie Gansermother, Jackie Huffnell, Judy Wilson-Hone, Joan Wagner, and those who keep the flame going today, Erica Leslie, Lynn Bowers, Judy Strong, and so many more who have paved the way to excellence. Lacrosse umpiring has given me so much opportunity to mentor and teach and train new officials. It has allowed me to travel to various parts of our country, and yes, like Vinny said, it's not 2 hours in a car, it could be 6. It has allowed me to see different parts of the world internationally representing USA. These opportunities allowed me to develop my own skills as well as assist in others. Let's see where My last thank you goes out to the umpiring community, US Lacrosse, and CWLOA, who have created a platform to improve, train, educate, and develop the umpires. I have learned through them the opportunities as well as collaboration to respect all aspects of the game, coaches, players, fellow umpires who I call my teammates. I have learned to self-reflect, admit errors, hopefully not too often, adjust and adapt to the challenges of the game and the changes of the athlete of today. I want to thank my fellow umpires, teammates, and assigners, Mara and Jen, who are here today, on and off the field, how you have pushed us to be better umpires and to be a better umpire than your last game. People ask, what is the best thing said to you as an umpire as you walked on a field? And it was on a professional game assignment when Abby in charge said, Patty is here, we can all relax, she will get it right. As we move forward and knowing lacrosse will be an Olympic sport, I hope you haven't seen the last of me yet. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for Patty Klesha-Porter. Our final inductee, Paul Rabel, is being presented into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame as a truly great player by his college coach and friend, Hall of Famer David Petramala.
So the things that stood out about Paul, were simple. He was athletic, he was strong, but I think the thing that stood out, I know the thing that stood out most to me was his competitive nature. Usually lots of guys are talented, and they like to win. Paul hates to lose more than he likes to win. Well, it's interesting. Everybody looks at Paul and sees this 6'3", 6'4", handsome guy, big, strong, physical, looks like a free safety for an NFL football team. And they just assume, well, he's got God-given gifts, and this comes easy to him. And while certain things do come easy to Paul, He was a worker. He is a worker. And I would tell you that's his second best quality. His competitiveness is his greatest, and his work ethic is his next greatest quality. When Paul graduated from Hopkins and entered into the pros and then started the PLL, he became the consummate pro. I think it's where he's experienced his most growth, not as a player or just as a player, but as a person. You know, Paul came into the league, you know, played like gangbusters. You know, one of the best players in the league, became the MVP of the league, became the face of the league. And then all of a sudden injuries start to pile up. And the things he's able to do are different. And he's got to play the game a little differently. So he had to grow. He had to adjust. He had to kind of morph into something a little different. Being on Team USA meant something to him. It wasn't just making another team. It wasn't just, okay, I'm being selected to the team that has the premier players on it. That was a part of it, you know, and that's the desire for Paul to be great and his desire to be the very best. And make no mistake, it was always Paul's desire to be the very best, not to be one of them, but to be the best. But he looked at it as a tremendous privilege to be selected as a member of Team USA, and he looked at it as a responsibility. He revels in the responsibility of wearing it. He revels in the responsibility of, okay, there's lots of fans out here. I need to spend time with them. I need to sign autographs. He's a Hall of Fame person, and he's a Hall of Fame player because there is no, I can't do it. Greatness doesn't accept you can't do it. Greatness doesn't say, well, everybody else says I can't do it, so I won't. He's a Hall of Fame player because Paul worked at his craft. Paulie, I can't tell you how privileged and proud I am to be sitting here introducing you to be inducted into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. But I'd be lying if I told you I'm surprised or I didn't expect it. Once I got to know you and once I got to spend time with you and learned of your competitive nature, your outstanding work ethic, and your true desire to be great in all that you do, this is no surprise to me. So I sit here tonight, you know, so proud of you, so excited for you and your mom and your dad, Mike, and your family. I know how much it means to them as well. So the greatest thing I can tell you, pal, is I love you. I love you with all my heart. You're like a son to me, and my time with you has been extraordinarily special, and I look forward to our relationship continuing to go. Congratulations, Paulie.
Wow. Thank you, Coach. I'll come back to you in a moment. I just want to start by thanking USA Lacrosse and the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame Committee. It's an extraordinary honor to be up here. It's something that we can only dream of when we pick up a stick for the first time. So we're incredibly humbled. And to each of my fellow inductees, congratulations. I'm going to start with Kristen. I remember when you were on the cover of Inside Lacrosse, and we were juniors in college, and we all came to the game early to see you play and score 5 or 6 goals against our alma mater. And I heard what you said up here. I would venture to say that your daughters view you as their sports idol, and we hope that with the WLL, your daughters, Brody's daughter, and others out here will feel the same way that you expressed. Junior, you're the most skilled lacrosse player to ever play the game. It's not even close. I used to practice going behind the back, around the world, through the legs, behind my legs. Never did it in the game. Come to find out after games, your car broke down, and you still scored 6 goals against us. I too remember that 2010 gold medal game and being on the sideline, and whenever you had the ball in your stick, I looked to my left and Alex Smith, our face-off player, was warming up. That's how good of a player you were. Brody, you were an arch rival. You became a teammate. You're a genuine friend. You're the greatest competitor I ever stepped on the field against, and you always had my back. And my only hope is that you know that I'll always have yours. I want to thank my coaches. There's a lot of them here. I started playing 27 years ago, and my first coach is here, Coach Fagan. He was the coach of Montgomery Village Sports Association. My high school coach, Coach Long's here. Some of my most memorable moments outside of playing for you was when I graduated college and we would have a breakfast every December at Miss Shirley's in Baltimore and just talk about life. Coach Petramali, you heard from him. He is a friend, a brother, a father figure, a mentor, a coach. Coach T's here. Coach Benson's here. My longtime strength and conditioning coach, Jay Dyer's here. I have other professional and international coaches here, Coach Resch. And what I would offer for the young kids in the room and even the adults is a lesson that I learned from my dad: be coachable. And I think it was an advantage that I had to have been taught that, because I always looked for instruction and I wanted to be better. There's a Harvard Business Review study that showed a number of CEOs and top performers in sports over the last 20 years, and their common trait was they asked for help because they knew that they could cover more ground in a shorter amount of time than their opponents by having someone help them, guide them. And that's what my coaches did for me. To my teammates that are here, I have high school teammates in Billy Looney. I have my college roommates in Garrett Stanwyck and Stephen Pizer, and our goalie, Jesse Schwartzman. I have longtime pro roommates and friends. Kyle Hartzell, we shared a hotel room for 15 years. RP3's here. Drew Westervelt's here. Kyle Sweeney's here. I share this honor with each of you. I wouldn't have been able to play the way that I did. I wouldn't have been able to experience the game the way that I did. We won together, we lost together, we fought together, we spent really genuine and special time together in the locker rooms, and you've made me who I am. And I love you guys, so thank you. My family. My dad, my mom, my brother, my sister. Quickly, 27 years ago when I started, it wasn't a great start. My first few plays were turnovers, and I told my parents I wanted to stop playing lacrosse. And my mom would drive me to practice every Tuesday, and I was kicking and screaming because she taught me about commitment. My dad taught me about discipline. My brother taught me about work ethic and passion and care. My sister taught me about bravery and courage. When I was 28, I hit a personal and professional rock bottom. And my brother Mike convinced me to get into sports psychology, which was a gateway into personal therapy, which I desperately needed. You heard Coach Petro up there. Sounds like a huge narcissist I was. Just wanted to be the best, kick everyone's ass. So personally, it was a difficult journey. But through all of that work, I learned how to become more whole, build a relationship with myself, build a relationship with my teammates, build a better relationship with the game and the game after the game. And at many moments, I felt like, this is really hard, I'm not sure where it's leading me to, until I met my partner, Vanessa. And I learned that I did all that work to become whole so that we could build a life together. And although you never saw me play, what you don't know is that back there before this all started, Brody Jr. and I got together, and we're officially announcing our comeback in 2025. So I want to quickly talk about purpose, pain, and the game. They say an athlete dies twice. The first is when they retire, and you lose a sense of purpose. And it's understandable, because every day you wake up to train and play with your teammates with the aim of winning a game and fighting for a championship, and all that is gone. I also had a sense that about 10 years ago, the pro game was losing its purpose too. And that's why Mike and I got together and start the PLL. We tried to change the purpose of professional lacrosse. And what I learned and what I figured out was that there was this newfound purpose that I would walk into that was far different than any type of passion or purpose I had when I was a player. And it was because most of the time playing, the thoughts were felt inward And when we built the PLL, everything moved outward. I think you like the Beatles, Doc, their famous song, From Me to You. That's what it felt like. And today, with everyone from the PLL here today, I know in my bones that our job day to day is to serve the current players and the next generation of players, and that's such a profound purpose. The only guarantee in life is that we'll experience pain. All of us here in sports know that. Whether it's a missed shot, an injury, you lose a game, you lose a championship, it's really painful. And I've learned that life is about how you respond to pain, such that my most memorable games that I played in was my senior year in college against our arch rival in Syracuse on live television in front of 50,000 people, and we lost. In 2014, I was a part of arguably the greatest USA team ever assembled, and we lost the gold medal game on live television in Denver, Colorado. A year later, I broke my foot, I was sidelined, and then I was traded. And those are some of my most memorable moments because of my coaches and my teammates, and we all came together and we responded. And the way that you respond is with a level of self-awareness, grit, work ethic, and if you do that well enough, you look back at those terrible, painful losses, and you go, man, I wouldn't be where I am today if not for that. So embrace the pain. The last piece is, over my college, professional, and international career, I played in about 320 games, and I won 74% of them. As Kyle would say, that's good, not great. My mom's a teacher here, that's a C. But I also won championships in college, pro, outdoor, indoor, and internationally. Why? I'm going to go back to coaches. I remember Coach Petro telling me this. The real game starts in the fourth quarter. Then, to me, that meant empty the tank, kick it up a notch, demand the ball in the clutch, and we're going to go down with you or we're going to win with you. Most people are timid in those moments. Today, I take that to mean that we're never out of time, it's never too late to start something new, and the world is always ready for an unexpected comeback. So, here's to the fourth quarter. And may we treat every ground ball, every game, every play, every moment, every relationship, every career choice, every family matter, as if it's the fourth quarter of the championship. Thank you.
What a great way to end the night. One final round of applause for Paul Rabel. Congratulations once again to all the 2024 inductees. Kristen Chelman Marshall, John Grant Jr., Betsy Mang Ramsey, Vin Labello, Carol Daly Cantelli, Brody Merrill, Patty Kletcher Porter, and Paul Rabel. Welcome to the club. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's formal ceremony, but the evening is far from over. The celebration is just beginning. The post-ceremony reception presented by Atlas Group will take place at their downtown restaurant, The Chop Tank, and will continue through 2 a.m. We kindly ask that you make your way to the lobby where shuttle service will be available to transport all guests. Thank you, and we look forward to continuing the celebration with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's your MC, and we are so grateful to have her here tonight. Please give it up for Sheehan Stanwyck Birch. Thank you, Sheehan. Hey, let's also hear it for the event staff of USA Lacrosse, Director Christy Nutt, and the person putting all the special touches on tonight's ceremony, Shannon Minter. Before we break for the night, we'd like to ask all Hall of Famers in attendance, that's previous inductees as well as tonight's honorees, please head to the stage for a group photo, a special Hall of Fame photo. All Hall of Famers, including tonight's inductees, as you can, make your way to the stage. For all others, thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you will join us at the Chop Tank. Go Ravens.